What's good, San Diego? Welcome into Gwynn and Chris on this Thursday off day afternoon. Same time zones, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. A lot of news to get to. We got a short show because Thursday night football pops off right here on 97.3 The Fan. Dolphins, Bills. At it here tonight.
Yeah,
we'll have that game right here on this radio
station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chris Ello's team is in action tonight.
I'm excited. I'm trying to play it down a little bit, but yeah, for a lot of people, this is a glorious day. You know, San Diego State's in the Pac-12, and we'll see where that leads us. For others, it's a day to rest, and then the Padres are off, and everybody else in the wild card race is off, so we can take a deep breath today before the stretch run. But for me today, it's Bills Day, and that doesn't mean paying bills. It means trying to beat the Bills. The Dolphins never seem to beat the Bills. I think they've lost 11 of the last 12, and I read something today that concerned me a great deal about tonight's game. In the last 5 years, Josh Allen has been NFL Player of the Week 5 times following a game against the Dolphins. So he hasn't just beaten them, he's played insanely well that many times, and they've had no answer for him, and that's why they can't beat Buffalo. So we will see what happens tonight. But there are bigger things to talk about today, Tony. I think it's kind of an exciting day for San Diego State fans. I don't know exactly where it's going to lead us, but, to me, having the Pac-12 name attached is better than Mountain West, and it's a step, and we'll see where we go.
We'll talk about that in a sec. Let's, of course, start with our beloved Padres. They split the 2-game Vetter Cup out in Seattle.
My God, Scraby, it was one loss. It's all right.
Seattle takes the cup.
Yeah, they got the
for
series
the
this
2024
year.
season, and the Padres lose a little ground. They lose the top spot,
Mm-hmm.
only for a half a game with the Diamondbacks, who are in action. They don't actually have their off day until, I believe, next week. So we will stay a game ahead of them, at least in how many played, until that time. The Padres lose a tough one. Quite frankly, Brian Wu had it going. I mean, he was. This is one of the. First of all, Mariners have the best pitching in all of baseball due to their starting pitching. Padres got to one of their really good ones the day before. This is another one of their good ones, and he got to them last night. Although Fernando Tatis Jr. ruined the festivities with a 116-mile-per-hour laser beam out to left. He also took a run off the board. It wasn't enough for the Padres, unfortunately, and they'll get ready for this series here in San Francisco, Chris.
Yeah, you're in San Fran, getting ready, and they're going to be crucial games, and I think we'll talk more about it, tomorrow. But the loss last night, a couple things. You're right, Brian Wu. That's the story. I mean, when you retire the first 19 guys, it's going to be hard to win that game. The biggest surprise of all was that he ended up walking somebody in the 7th inning, and the Mariners were so distressed by that they immediately took him out of the game. It was only his 10th walk of the season, and when you're throwing strikes, you'd think a team like the Padres that makes contact against a guy like this would put the ball in play and find some holes. But there are certain nights where baseball just takes that away. You don't get anything to fall in. And so, it was their night. Cronenworth makes an error on a play that, personally, I'll be comfortable with him trying to make about 1,000 times in a row. He dropped the throw, and, they didn't get the call on the replay. In a perfect world, maybe they could have said he had control of that ball, but I hate to say I kind of agreed with the overrule there. And
I did too.
Yeah, so, that's good. Look, the first game of the season they lost because a ball bounced through Cronenworth's glove.
That's right.
That hasn't happened since.
Glove game. That seems like 5 years ago.
I know, and a play like that to me is a one-off. I'm not expecting that, and I know people say, well, you change you put Bogey at short, Cronies at second, and now the defense is terrible. It's not. It's a play that he'll make every time, but he didn't make it last night, and so that's a win for Seattle. But I will say this, it did cause me, for the first time, Tony, to actually check the remaining schedules of the Mets and the Braves and the Diamondbacks, and I know the Padres' remaining schedule. And, I want to see where everybody stands. I mean, to me, it's exciting. I obviously don't want it to be close, but I'd like to, cruise into the playoffs, but that's not going to happen. They're going to have to play well the next 3 weeks. And, I think the Mets have a toughest schedule. They play the Phillies 7 times. They also play the Braves. The Diamondbacks play the Brewers 7 times. And so, the schedule, the other teams are going to take their losses down the stretch, but the Padres got to make sure they take fewer of them.
Couple of things. I think it's important to remember that this feeling that everybody's feeling, the Diamondback fans are feeling this, the Mets fans are feeling this, the Braves fans are certainly feeling it, and everybody else who's chasing this wild card. The only time you're honestly probably comfortable is if you're winning your division.
Right.
And so ultimately you have to go out and you got to take it. And that's the case for not just the Padres, but that's for everybody. The Padres are just better positioned to take it than everybody else. And so, this was never going to be easy. I know, as you said, in the perfect world, Padres run away and hide with the top spot, possibly push the division to a closer, and it just you're in, right? But I don't think it was ever going to come to that, especially when the thought was, you win 85 games, you have a chance to get in at the very beginning of the season. It wasn't going to be like that. And now that it's, upwards of probably 90-plus games, it's still not going to be like that. And so Padres just have to play well down the stretch. You are not likely in 2024 going to back into the playoffs. It just seems very unlikely at this point.
Even though their lead is 2.5 right now over the Braves, they really don't have to play extraordinary down the stretch. The Padres, 10-5, even I think 9-6 will probably do it. I hesitate to do those things because they're going to just take every game one at a time and try to win them all. But 9-6. Going to force the Braves to play about 800 baseball down the stretch, or the Mets or the Diamondbacks, or all of them are going to have to. And remember, the Padres only have to hold off one of those teams. They don't have to hold off all 3. And so that's, in their favor. And I still think the Padres have as good of, if not the better roster going here. They've got Darvish is back in the fold now starting, and Perez takes a little paternity leave, but when he comes back, he's pitching well, and I'm throwing Cease on Friday night. I feel good every time I go out there with one of these Padres starters, and I feel good with the bullpen, and I know they're going to score runs. They're not going to get shut down like they did last night, I don't think, too often, so I still feel pretty comfortable about it.
Yeah.
But enough to look around the landscape.
It was funny. Jesse and I had a conversation, I don't know if you guys heard during the game, and it was about how for the first, and you and I talked about it on the show, first 3 months of the season, we talked about the small margin for error that the Padres had. And we get to this point in the season, and without a doubt that margin has widened because the offense is as good as it is on a pretty consistent basis. But the foundation is still the foundation. Good pitching and defense. Those are going to set you up for that offense to do its thing. And then last night's game, that they didn't get those. They didn't get the type of start that they have been accustomed to getting. They didn't get the defense. And for defense, it could just be one play that changes it for your ball club. And so I say that to say, even down the stretch, even though the margin for error has widened, their foundation is still their foundation. They're going to need good starting pitching, and they're going to need good defense on most nights to make them victorious.
Yeah, and so I think they're going to get that stuff.
I do too, 100%. It was just kind of the best of or the worst of both worlds, right? I mean, their pitcher was at the tippy top of his game,
and
the Padres didn't get those two things in that particular game.
Yeah, I get it. Another thing about Michael King, I think he's pitching, phenomenal ball. I think there's somewhere,
Heck yeah.
Some metric had him as honestly, a top 10 pitcher in baseball this year based on all of his analytics. You know what I think about analytics, but it does at least underscore the point that he's been great and he's been somebody you could rely on. The one area
Absolutely.
where Michael King has not been reliable this year is allowing unearned runs. He's allowed a bunch of unearned runs, and he allowed 3 of them last night. It wasn't his fault, right? I mean, Cronenworth made the error. But I'd like to see Michael King be able to bear down a little bit in those situations. It's not always easy to do. You give a major league team an extra out. In this case, you almost gave him 2 extra outs because it would have been a double play most likely to end the inning. But, I need to come through there. I need to get these next couple of guys and get us out of the inning and get back in the dugout. And, everything's going to add up here down the stretch. I'm not trying to pick on King. He's been, like I said, he's been one of the best we've got. But everybody's going to have everybody's back as well down the stretch. And I don't know if he's the kind of guy that tends to get down a little bit when an error or 2 is made behind him. Statistically, it says that has happened to him this year. That's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree with that. I think he doesn't disagree with you that. Out after error is a statement that he uses often.
Yeah.
And it's really to remind him that he has to bear down. But the mere fact that, at least especially in the last 3 starts, his defense has failed him. I don't think there is any getting around it. That's certainly, when that happens to a specific pitcher over and over and over again, the onus is although you need the pitcher to be able to kind of settle back down and get the next guy. That defense overall with him on the bump certainly has to almost have a little bit more hyper focus when he's on it, because that's becoming a kind of a thing when he's on the mound.
Yeah.
There's a pitcher every year that gets a ton of run support, and there's another pitcher in the rotation that gets none. The ironic part is he's also the guy who gets the most run support, I believe, in that rotation. But they're also giving some of those runs right back with the errors that they're making. So
the other last thing,
he's been great though.
Yeah, he has, and I feel confident with every pitcher the Padres send out there. The one guy I've lost complete confidence in, though, is Luis Ariz. He had 1 hit last night. What's the matter with this guy?
Trade him.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody else, now I understand why everybody's traded him.
Finally come to the dark side.
Yeah, come to the dark side on Ariz. He came up to bat there in the 8th inning, and he was 0 for 3, and I'm like, what? That's not possible. But it just goes to show, man.
It shows you how good Brian Wu was.
He was
Luis
good.
Ariz isn't getting hits.
Yeah, the guy was out. Come on, 19 for 19. I think this is kind of silly because they lost the game in a lot of ways, people might think. But I'm glad they did not get no hit. I'm glad they did not get perfect gamed. You see Dylan Cease throws that no-hitter. It gave the team a big lift. And I think getting no hit can have the opposite effect. So I'm glad we don't have to have that to carry through an off day. And, Fernando took care of that. And, it did come in a loss, but his catch in right field, Tony, you can talk about how difficult that was. This is a platinum glove type play. And, I thought he made almost a better play the night before when he threw the guy out running to his right from right center field. You don't see outfielders do that. So those 2 plays, stars for Fernando there.
Yeah, that's the easier of the plays. The timing of the jump and the height of that ball, and he didn't put his foot in the wall. That was just straight vert that he went up and just kind of snatched it and brought it back.
Yeah.
That's a really difficult play especially on the corners. Center field, a lot of times the ball is straight. When the ball's hit to the corners, it's got either some pull on it or it's got a little fade on it. Right. And so he had to, and it was a right-handed hitter. It was a Rosarena. So
it
had that kind
of a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of had that fade, which is why he ended up, I think, falling, because it almost like he had to go backwards to catch it. And it was an amazing play. I mean, Tatis is. You just feel. I think that I haven't been vexed about this whole thing, because I just feel like Manny and Toddy, like they know what time it is. They know, like Luis, they know we're down to like the big boy time of the year, and so I fully expect that all the guys from Jerickson or from Luis to Jerickson, those first six in that lineup, I think they know what time it is, and that includes Jackson. So I just feel good about the dogs that the Padres are going to throw out there on a nightly basis. Yeah. All right, let's get to break. When we come back, I think the real news of the day, San Diego State getting the invitation officially to join the Pac-12. We'll talk about a little bit about what that means. We've got a couple guests coming on to talk about. Kirk Kinney, the UT, definitely will join us in the 2 o'clock hour. Sean Cole, the San Diego State baseball coach, will come on in the 3 o'clock hour, talk about what this means for their particular sport as we set a new trail here at San Diego State. This starts in 2026. We'll get into it on the other side. More Gwynn and Chris.
Say hola to Team
for San Diego State, our fans, our alumni, our donors. Whew. You know, we've worked hard for this, and we have invested in San Diego State. Our institution has invested. I've told donors forever, the academic institution has to improve as much as the athletic institution, and credit to President De La Torre, credit to the previous presidents, provosts, deans, faculties, our students. The academic institution's amazing. The athletic department over the last, 12, 15 years, Jim Sturck's leadership. I was fortunate to work with Jim. All that we've accomplished. I mean, we have the best combined football and men's basketball record in Division I. So I'm so happy. I'm so proud for our fan base, our alumni, our donors that have this opportunity to go into the Pac-12, to create this new Pac-12 and the opportunities that it's going to provide us.
J.D. Wicker out at Snapdragon Stadium today, where they had a press conference. Big doings at San Diego State on Montezuma Mesa. We are all Aztecs for life around here, except for Scraby. And I think it's a big day for San Diego State. They've been trying to get into the Pac-12 for a long time. Obviously, they were almost there a few years ago. Actually, I think they were there until I don't know what happened, and USC and UCLA and Oregon and Washington jumped ship. But JD's been this has been kind of a big goal, and for this school, it just looks great. It looks great. Now, what does it all mean? I mean, look, there's San Diego State's in, and Colorado State, Fresno State, and Boise State are joining them. But there's only 2 teams in the Pac-12 to join at the moment, Oregon State and Washington State. Now, none of this actually takes place for until the 26-27 season, so not this year, not next year, but the year after that. And I think, Tony, this is far better than the status quo for San Diego State to finally be attached to the Pac-12 brand. But let's see what they can do with this. Not San Diego State, but let's see what the Pac-12 can do with this now that they have the makings of a conference. Can they go out and steal, a couple of big-name schools from somewhere else? It seems like all is fair and love and war out there in college sports these days. So everybody stole teams from the Pac-12. Maybe they can do the same thing. That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Yeah, so, there's a great article in The Athletic written by a guy named Stuart Mandel. He's kind of... Yeah,
Stuart's good. He's been around it a long time.
It kind of highlights the whole scenario. This is obviously less about revenue than it is about the golden ticket. And what is the golden ticket? That's one of those spots in the playoff.
In the college football playoff.
College football playoff.
Right.
And so, this article kind of lays out the idea that this is not about money like most of the moves that we've seen. This is more about that playoff spot. However, as Chris just mentioned, the Pac-2 right now, with this addition, only leaves it to a Pac-6. You need 8 to qualify. Now, the Pac-12 has this 2-year grace period where they get to kind of try to figure out how they get those 8 teams in there. Now, there's a bunch of scenarios, right? Air Force, UNLV have been talked about. There's talks of moving into Texas with, I think, San Antonio and North Texas possibly being a part of that. But there is the scenario still that a team like the Big 12 could get plucked.
Sure.
Or like Boise State could get plucked to go to a place like the Big 12. So there is a lot of, I guess, the term balls in the air going right now for the Pac-6, as we would call it right now.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I think for San Diego State, it's a risk worth taking because right now they're stuck in the Mountain West, and I don't think anybody sees that conference elevating beyond where it is right now, and that's with
where it's always been. Yeah,
right. It's with the success of the teams that are now leaving. I think it's a risk worth taking for sure.
They've got to do this, and I'm really excited that they've done it. And you talk about stealing teams, which is the word they would not use, but I will. Look, why does Kansas and Kansas State, why are they married to the Big 12? Why is, BYU's over there, but maybe they want to come back to the West. Arizona and Arizona State, Utah, they're all in the Big 12 right now. Every one of those schools has to travel at least once a year to West Virginia and once a year to Central Florida. Why do that when there's a Pac-12 hoping to get back together and BYU and Arizona State could come back there? Look, everybody's got a weird situation. I'm just saying I've got to look into those things if I'm the
It's a great point because, on one end you look at it like, why would those teams leave the conferences that seemingly have more stability and certainly TV contracts for the extra money? However, if the Pac-6 can keep that golden ticket that they have by adding the conferences, what would stop one of those teams from being like, well, it's in their minds, and this is in their minds thinking, well, this is a much easier conference to get through and get to the playoff. So maybe we should do something.
Yeah,
like
let's go.
If
you're
lines.
Arizona State, Arizona, say let's win the Pac-12 and get into the tournament. Look, Cal and Stanford are obviously probably the dream scenario to get them back out here.
Right,
It makes it ridiculous that they're traveling to Wake Forest
instead of the all coast conference.
Yeah, right. So you'd like to believe that they would wise up, and maybe this weekend's football game at Cal is a preview of future Pac-12 games. I tell you, two more schools I would call if I'm the Pac-12, and that's Florida State and Clemson. I know they're off the chart, but to me, you have to think big to be big, and both Florida State and Clemson have been suing the ACC for about 5 years now. I can't believe that's a great relationship.
Yeah, but are they suing to get into the other big conferences?
I don't know what they're doing, but
and that's the Pacific Coast Conference.
Hey,
look, every conference is all over the country right now, Scrape. You know that just as much as I do.
Like
so.
the Big Ten is actually has 18 teams in it right
I mean,
now.
if you were the Big Ten goes from USC to Rutgers, that is coast to coast. So I have no problem. And if you were, let's just say it's not going to happen, but if you got Florida State and Clemson, then you can start talking about really getting some big schools and make this thing, a legit thing again. So, but you had to start with this move, and let's be excited by this. Boise State is a legit program. Yeah, Fresno State, Colorado State, I'm okay with that. Just get yourself aligned under that Pac-12 banner, and I think something good can come of it. Yeah. And we'll see. Where it goes.
Here's the critic talking, okay?
Go right ahead, Mr. Critic.
Pac-12 is just a glorified Mountain West.
Well, look, the Big 12 is a glorified.
It's the Mountain West with branding.
The Big 12 right now is a glorified Mountain West, AAC, and everything else.
But the Big 12 has
What big
schools.
Schools wait, sorry, Tony. What big schools does the Big 12 have left? Oklahoma and Texas are long gone.
No, I know, but
so who's big
schools
there?
Schools like North Texas do not excite me.
I didn't say they would. But,
I know, but you guys were saying that possibly they join the conference.
But should
or something.
UCF and Cincinnati excite people in the Big 12? Do you think anybody's running out to see those teams? No, they're not. They're just trying to get teams. They're trying to get members. And try to stay legit. So I don't see why the Pac-12, now that they're heading in this direction, can keep heading in this direction and make a better landing spot for some of these schools.
Listen, can I say this? Having the better branding is not a bad thing, Scrape. I think that's a great thing. The fact is, the Mountain West doesn't have the branding that the Pac-12 or 2
Yeah,
have.
You mentioned Pac-12, people know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's worth something in this realm that we're speaking of right now, in terms of that Pac-12 still has that golden ticket that they're hanging on to it, should they be able to get to 8 again. And so that alone is more valuable than anything that the Mountain West has to offer, I think, at this point.
Couldn't agree more, Tony. And I brought up Kansas and Kansas State, but don't forget about basketball. I mean,
that's
exactly what's happening with that.
Their basketball will be in the Pac-12, but you can't tell me that Kansas wouldn't mind being in a conference with San Diego State, as opposed to going again to UCF.
Now you have to get Gonzaga in this conference for
but
basketball.
That would be basketball only.
Yeah,
look, there's a lot of different ways you can go, but at least there's ways you can go now.
Right.
What
There's
Tony
some,
was
there's
saying,
some direction.
They were kind of sitting in no man's land in the Mountain West Conference, and they've probably been sitting there for another 15 years. So
One quick point. The article does point out that, as Chris said, Florida State and Clemson are like pie in the sky, but they are hoping that the Cal and Stanford issue, who was in the AC, that's their dream scenario, is obviously to get those two teams back. However, in the time frame they have with the exemption, they may not get an answer on those two teams in time. So that's kind of where they stand on that.
Yeah, I was just bringing up the other side of the. I'm getting blamed right now, not by you guys, but by like Twitter and all this other stuff.
You're being
just
fine.
be happy, Scraby.
Well, no.
SCRABBEY.
They still haven't figured it out.
And that's fine, but I took offense to that spelling for some reason.
Scrabby.
And just so you know, in their minds, they're calling you Scrabby. This hour is brought to you by California Department of Transportation, eastbound Interstate 8. This is something you may want to know. Eastbound Interstate 8 will close from Jackson Drive to Route 67. That is this Friday at 9 p.m. That's a long stretch of closure there.
Yeah, it is.
And it's going to close through 5 a.m. Monday, September 16th. So you're not going to get through there if you're going East County. Follow the detour signs on Route 125 if you're in the area. Then give yourself more time to reach your destination. A valuable little tip from Uncle Chris here.
I called the city of Carlsbad about the light that's in front of my house that wouldn't change anymore, and they do not care. They do not care.
Bringing up a story that nobody remembers, but
the stoplight outside of my house had a laser that was working perfect. You pull up, it changes. Now you got to roll back and forth. You got to flash your brights. You have to like jump out of the car. Basically, called Carlsbad. They gave me the here. I'm going to transfer you here. Then I'm going to transfer you there. And then I'm going to anyway. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I can relate. It was a couple years ago. Might have been last year, but a couple years ago, the light, the street light in front of our house, like, went out. And so, like, I didn't, it took a little bit for it to, like, be a nuisance, where it was just like, dang, it's dark out here, before I actually called the city. I called the city, I left a message, and, like, I want to say, like, 7 months later, it got fixed. And it was,
7 months, that's pretty good.
And I didn't even know, it was fixed. It was like, oh. The lights fixed.
7.5 months. Yeah, obviously, Scraby, the city reacts to the Gwynn family a lot quicker than the Scrabby family.
Yeah, if it's anything like that, I'm going to be waiting like 3 years for this laser to get recalibrated.
I don't know, man. Carlsbad, that's a, That's
and we're not even they probably don't even care about us because we're on the edge of Carlsbad. Where basically you walk across the street.
The edge of Carlsbad.
You walk across the street and you're in Encinitas, and that's not a joke. So they don't care about us over there. The light's probably in Encinitas. I gotta check the zoning now.
Sounds to me like you're kind of putting the people of Encinitas down. Frankly,
why am I putting them down?
Well, you're saying I am in Carlsbad, but across the street is Encinitas. Where what? It's not as good.
You're trying to divide us up, ain't you, Scrape?
I cannot wait.
Gonna get the people of Encinitas boycotting the program.
If there's a mayor of Carlsbad listening right now, will you please get it fixed?
Dividing us up already.
Okay, we got Kirk Kenny next.
Kirk Kenny talking more about the San Diego State's big move today when we come back.
2:42 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, Kirk Kinney joining us here shortly. White Sox trying to stave off history, ladies and gentlemen. And they're going to have to do something I believe they haven't done all year.
Win a game?
Going into yesterday.
Going
into yesterday, I think they needed to finish 9-6.
Oh, God, that's not happening.
In order to avoid the record.
Yeah.
I don't think they've had a run like that all season long.
Not even close. I mean, they've only won 32 games the whole time. 33.
History could be on its way before the end of the season.
Hopefully the Padres will contribute to that history because we still play them.
They're going to need to contribute to that history.
Yes, they are.
We're going to need them to contribute at least two of them boys to the history.
Maybe all three.
Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile, and you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their saving calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. Kirk Kinney joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. Kirk, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. What's going on today, guys?
Can't think of anything.
There's same old here in San Diego and all of California. Now, obviously,
Hey,
go ahead.
Can I interrupt once for a second? I want to try and make Gravy's life easier.
Oh, what do you got for me?
So when I come to lights that just won't change, I wait a reasonable amount of time.
What's
I
reasonable?
look both ways, and I continue on with life.
He just goes.
Oh, he's telling me to forget about it. Oh, he just goes. I see.
Yes, he just goes.
Someone did send me a message saying that if a light is stuck and you are safe and it's no cars in your view, then you can go. But I don't believe that person.
It's illegal. That's illegal.
Yeah, but
Kirk,
you know
Kirk,
what?
what is a reasonable time?
1 potato, 2 potatoes, 3 potatoes.
Only 3 potatoes, huh?
And if you're real conservative, you do Mississippi's.
Oh, wow, okay. I'll
give you a little extra time.
No, but this is like it will be counting up to like 90 Mississippis by the time
Let me ask you this. This is a far better
So,
subject.
Scraby,
We've already talked about the Aztecs. Scraby, how long would you sit at that light?
I have sat
without
there.
it changing.
That was my next question.
Before you finally said, that's it. I gotta go.
A minute. A minute or a minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
Like if no cars are coming, I understand if there are cars coming and it doesn't
that's
change.
different.
That's different.
Right.
But last night I went to go get gas at like 8 something,
right,
and it wouldn't change, and so I waited a minute. Anyway,
I'm just saying, man. You're a criminal. That's all I'm saying. Man.
Never mind us calling the Carlsbad people to fix the light. We're going to call the police department to give you a ticket.
Criminal. All right, let's jump back. Let's jump back to the Pac-2 now 6. Kirk, I mean, this has been talked about for a while. It seemed like it had gone away, but clearly conversations were happening behind the scenes because this seemingly kind of came out of nowhere. I don't recall hearing anything about this until yesterday. What's your take on this move for the Aztecs, and do you know anything about how it came about?
Well, I do think it hit critical mass fairly quickly, like within 72 hours, because the Mountain West commissioner was in San Diego on Saturday for the football game, and Mark Ziegler of our paper spoke with her and did a story and spoke to J.D. Wicker, and none of this was broached. Not that they'd be sharing everything at that moment, but I really think this kind of, in some ways, came out of nowhere. But big news in some ways. In other ways, it's like, oh, okay, finally. It's been very interesting for me to gauge reaction. I've seen some people who are excited and others are just kind of shrugging their shoulders. And I've been trying to really collect my thoughts on how I feel. And the best I can come up with at this point is I feel like I've been driving a car that's got 120,000 miles on it. And now I don't have a new car, but I've got one with about 42,000 miles on it.
That feels like a new car.
He always has a great way of explaining things.
I would like you to write that in your story tomorrow, Kirk, and let all of us try to deal with it.
All right.
Kirk Kenny.
Well, I'm still deciding on the mileage of what I'm driving. But,
the newer car. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. The newer car.
Yeah, I don't think
Well,
go ahead.
So I'm old enough that I remember when it was the Pac-8 and the Aztecs were trying to get in the late 70s, mid to late 70s, and they took Arizona and Arizona State.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, fans have been clamoring from them to get in the Pac-12. And even a couple of years ago, if they made it, a lot of it was to play against USC and UCLA. Well, then they're leaving. Well, okay, Oregon and Washington and Utah and the 2 Arizonas are still left. Oh, no, now they're gone. So to me, that just takes a lot of the energy out of it. But at the same time, if you stand pat with the Mountain West, I don't really see that conference going anywhere. So I think this gives you a chance. And especially when we see, who the players to be named later are in this, when they get up to 8 or 9 teams, I think they will be in a better spot.
Kirk is with us. Kirk Kenny, our guy, San Diego State. And Kirk, let me just touch on something that Mark Ziegler did write about earlier this week, and that was J.D. Wicker kind of coming out and saying, look, we actually had a chance to go to the Big 12, but the offer was ridiculous. They weren't going to give us any money, TV revenue, no revenue. We're going to get half the split. And he deemed that to be, just something not worth accepting at all. Talk a little bit about that and whether, how bad of a deal would have that been for the Aztecs and why this is better for them.
Well, I think you ought to have always been chasing teams that were on substantially better footing. And, look at Cal and Stanford in the ACC. I think they're getting about $10 million, which is half to a third maybe of what the other schools are getting. That just wouldn't sit well with me. It's like if I'm going to be, I always related also to being at a country club. If some guys get to play 18 holes and I only get to play 9, I just don't think that would sit well with me, right? Yeah. And that's how I think some of that would have been with the Big 12. So I think you're looking for whatever's the best deal, what's more financially feasible, and I think that's what they've done.
Kirk Kenny joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. And Kirk, you talked a little bit about, when the players to be named later join. I mean, we've seen some of the teams floated out there. It seems as though their dream scenario, obviously, is to get Cal and Stanford back, but the timing of that may not really line up. Who do you see as the best fits for not only the conference, but the teams that are joining the conference?
So first off, Cal and Stanford, I think what some people are looking at is what happens with Florida State and Clemson. If they are able to free themselves to the conference and it collapses, that then frees up Stanford and Cal to come back. From some things I understand, I don't know how eager Stanford would be because I think they look down on most of the schools that are going to be in this new Pac-12.
They look down on every school, though, don't they? I mean, come on. They're Stanford. Please.
Well, Ziegler went to Stanford, so I have to tread lightly sometimes when I speak of the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's true.
But at some point, I think you have to face some reality too, and what's the best thing for your school, even if it means being somewhere you don't necessarily want to be. As far as some of the other names being mentioned, I asked a specific question today: would you like to keep this to be a West Coast conference? And neither JD nor Adela De La Torre would specify that. They said they want the schools that make the most sense and are the best fit and help the conference be the strongest it can be, which tells me they're going to be looking across the country and what schools profile the best. It is kind of crazy now when I hear somebody mention UTSA, which 5 years ago, could you even have said who that is?
No.
So, when somebody who's a hot school now, are they really going to be a hot school 5 or 10 years from now? I don't know.
Great point.
Yeah, Kirk's with us. It was a big day at San Diego State, and the Aztecs are finally in the Pac-12. Maybe it's not the perfect scenario, but I agree with you, Kirk. Those who are kind of looking at this is a better than a lateral move. It just is. And, where they can take it from here, well, they can take it somewhere. We don't know where it's going to be, so let's wait on that. But if they stayed in the Mountain West, that clearly was not going to go anywhere. We got a couple of minutes with you. They're playing Cal this week. I said maybe this is a preview of a Pac-12 game in the future, but football at Cal, quarterback hurting. Give me a quick preview of this one for Sean O'Neill's team. Or Sean Lewis's team, Sean O'Neill. Sean O'Neill, the former writer in Escondido. Sorry about that.
Right.
Sean Lewis's team.
It's funny you say that because I did that exact thing earlier this week.
Oh, you did?
Well, you know what part of the problem is, too? Their quarterback's name is Danny O'Neill.
Yeah, there you
go. I'm wondering if that's what gets it introduced. Anyway, So Danny O'Neill hurt his knee last Saturday against Oregon State, and he's not been able to practice fully. So he's been a question mark. And if he can't go, then they'd have one of the backups would go. And so we'll probably see that decision. It might come as late as, just before game time, that we'll really actually find out who the starter is. The Aztecs come in as a 19-point underdog, which seems kind of understandable with Cal coming off an upset win over Auburn and the Aztecs being shut out last week. But we'll see. They still have some good skill guys at San Diego State, have a good running back in Marquez Cooper, and we'll see if they can put it together a little bit more this week.
Aztecs back in action, taking on Cal Berkeley. Kirk, appreciate you coming on, man. This has been insightful in terms of kind of hearing what's going on with the Pac-6, Pac-2, however you want to call it. I know I'm excited just from the standpoint that we got a chance to do something. It seemed like
Right.
Mountain West just kind of had run its course. We'll check in with you down the line, Kirk. Appreciate you coming on.
All right, guys. Remember, always look both ways.
And then put your foot on the gas.
Kirk Kitty, Union Tribune. Always a joy to have on.
By the way, the Aztec football game Saturday night, just for people who care about stuff like this, on the main ESPN network. Big night for the Aztecs Saturday.
Believe it.
Hopefully they'll
Score some points.
Hopefully they'll perform okay. Yeah.
See,
you hate to be on the national stage and lay a clunker, right?
Exactly.
I don't know the financials, but what Kirk said about not going to the Big 12 makes sense to me. It does. I mean, you don't want to just be the worst of a good conference and just continue to get beat up on, right?
Right, because then you just end up the dormant the whole time. So you're trying to keep it's an interesting balance, right? You're trying to keep your prestige of your school, and you're also trying to be in a conference with prestige, right? And so if you're not getting the same cut that everybody else is, that puts you at a disadvantage. So I like that JD rolled the dice, said no on that, and it gives us another avenue, which we didn't have before.
By the way, we're going to have him on the show tomorrow at 4 p.m., JD Wicker.
Awesome. JD Wicker tomorrow, 4 p.m. Let's get to break. Daily Gambit on the other side.
Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. 3:01 is the time, hour number 2 of the program. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr. is in San Francisco today. That's where the Padres are enjoying an off day. The calm before the storm. Off day before you set down for the run for the finish line. 15 games to go for the Padres starting tomorrow against the Giants. Scraby's alongside here in the Odyssey Palace, and since I've never had a chance to work down in South Florida, I'm excited to say that today's program also serves as the pregame show for Miami Dolphins football. That just booed off the stage for that one. Dolphins and Bills is coming up after our show today.
Someone asked me the story about
Thursday
how
Night
you
Football.
became a Dolphins fan, and I told them, and they're like, "You're lying."
What,
And I
did
said,
I
"No,
watch
I'm not."
Did I watch a show on Dolphins when I was a little kid and I liked them?
Yes, they think I'm lying every time. They're like, "That can't be the reason." I'm
What
like,
else would
I know,
would
it sounds
make more-
crazy.
what would make more sense?
You growing up in South Florida?
Pops like the Dolphins. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that story is not unbelievable, but it's not the norm.
Tony, look at me in the camera. Am I the norm? Please.
I'm surprised you're not wearing your Tua Tagovailoa jersey.
My Tua jersey, maybe tomorrow if he performs worthy of it.
Adam and I, real
I'll
quick,
dig it out of the mothballs.
came up with a great costume for Pat McAfee show person AJ Hawk. All he needs to do is put a Tua jersey on, and he's AJ Hawk Tua. That is amazing.
Not bad. You came up with that?
Adam and I came up with it
You
together.
guys work together?
Yes.
What are you, a comedy writing team now?
Yes, we are.
You and Adam
AJ
Klug?
Hawk Tua would be amazing.
That's pretty funny, Scrappy.
Oh
I got to
my
give
God.
you a credit on that one.
Thank
Is
you.
it though?
No, but I'm trying to make him feel
funny?
better. Trying to make him feel better.
That's fair.
Bills and Dolphins, we'll talk about some of the little wagers going on as our Daily Gambit gets here in a moment. I did touch on this in the open of the show. So here's the rundown for those who, are keeping track, and I'm keeping track now because, the season's on the line. And who do the Padres and their opponents play down the stretch? We got the Padres, we know. They're at San Francisco, home to Houston. Got the White Sox. White Sox. And then it finishes tough for the Padres, right? At Dodgers, at Arizona. Those last 6. And here's Arizona's schedule. They got Milwaukee this weekend at home.
Tough one.
They go to Colorado. Could mess up their bullpen. They go to Milwaukee for 4 next weekend.
Another tough one.
Yeah, and they finish at home with the Giants and then, of course, the Padres. So that's Arizona's schedule. The Mets, I think, have the toughest on paper. They're at Philadelphia this weekend. They get a little respite with Washington at home. Then they're home for the 4-gamer with the Phillies, and they finish at Atlanta, at Milwaukee. So that's the Mets.
Yes.
That's a tough go.
That's a tough one.
And the Atlanta. This is a big weekend for the Padres in the sense they could open up some ground on Atlanta because Atlanta's home this weekend for 4, but against the Dodgers. So, Atlanta's, we'll see. They have it a little better after that. At Cincinnati, at Miami, and then the Braves finish at home with the Mets and the Royals. And I think the Royals could be interesting because they could be right in the middle of a battle themselves. So,
100%.
It's fun to talk about. The bottom line is Padres go win your games, and you don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing. But I like to look at this stuff, and, you got the Mets playing 7 games against the Phillies and 3 games in Atlanta. One chance you'll have to pick up some ground is when the Mets are playing Atlanta because somebody will have to lose.
Right.
Anyway, we'll see how it all turns out. Right now, the Padres are a half game behind the Diamondbacks. They are a game and a half up on the Mets and 2.5 up on the Braves. All right, go ahead.
Who did Diamondbacks play tonight?
They're not on tonight. Everybody's off tonight.
Oh, they're off. Okay.
Yes, everyone's off. It's our chance to, like I said, deep breath, and then starting tomorrow, it's go time. So the standings will not change tonight as far as the wild card picture.
If I really wanted to, and I loved more baseball, I could go watch the Giants play the Brewers tonight.
Boy, that would really be kind of an interesting move from somebody that sees 162 games a year.
Yeah, that's if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. I thought I'd throw that
Call
out there.
up Blake Snell,
Yeah,
and be
Blake
like,
could
hey,
get your-
hook me
yeah,
up.
you
Could
good
give me
tickets.
some good tickets.
Yeah.
Be right down
that's
there,
a
Tony.
Good point.
Yeah,
That's a
might
good point.
go enjoy
Do
a.
you see,
But then I turn this 3-game series into a 4-game series. So I think I will pass on that.
Logan Webb said he's going to do everything in his power to convince Blake Snell to stay with the Giants. So if he's coming back to the Padres, he's got to go through Logan Webb.
Listen, Blake certainly wouldn't mind coming back to the Padres. I know that to be fact.
His $35 million salary
He's,
on the
he's
other
also
hand.
he's also very well aware that things may be tight. So
He has got to be, the best but craziest pitcher in baseball. Because you honestly
unique.
don't know what you're
He's
going to
unique.
get. Last night he just went out there and just struck out 8, no problem, won the game easy. Game before he made it through 1 inning, and then was out of the game.
42 pitches,
right?
at
And
the
he
first.
was out of there. You just don't know, but I would say when they're on and their stuff is really working, Blake Snell, Dylan Cease might be the best 2 pitchers in the whole thing.
Yeah, the
I'm not-
right-handed
they-
version,
right?
The right-handed or left-handed version of each other,
Yeah,
depending
cannot
on who
hit
you
those
want to say.
guys. Cannot hit those guys when they're on. So, all right, Scraby, you ready for a little Daily Gambit stuff? We got some games to look at.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on the show. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Tony, I don't believe you were here the other day, but someone last weekend put down 10 cents on like 7 first touchdown scores of the NFL games on Sunday, and it was like plus 13 million odds. This person got it right. And they got paid out because they bet 10 cents. They got paid out $13,000.
Well, first of all, that is the kind of betting that I'm interested in.
Yeah,
10
something
cents.
that costs a dime.
10 cents for 13 grand.
Who's even carrying around a dime anymore?
It's
That's a
an
good
electronic
But that's
transaction.
It's an electronic
Chris.
transaction.
Well, that's
yeah.
the beauty. You can find that in your car, the carpet. You
couch,
can find
yeah.
dime anywhere. So, you got it.
Chris,
I
do you have a
promise
dime
got
on
it.
you right now?
I don't.
I may. Let me see.
I got one in my backpack.
I
Loose
know.
change.
The loose change in the backpack as a traveling man is a very important thing. All right. Let's get into it. Padres and Mariners last night. Over under 7 runs in the game. Chris went under. I went over. And it pushed 5-2. 7 runs.
Advantage push.
Advantage push.
Right on
King
7.
or Woo? Who pitched more innings? Chris said Woo. I said King. Woo did 6 2/3
Yep.
of nearly perfect baseball.
Yeah.
Blake Snell over under 7.5 strikeouts last night. Chris and I went over. He had 8 in 5 innings, I believe. Aces, 4.5 point favorites over the Fever last night. Chris and I chose the Fever. The Aces won 86-75, so we lost that one. Asia Wilson over under 26.5 points. We both went over, and she did go over by a half a point.
She also became
points.
the all-time leading scorer in the league.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
another
Big night for Asia Wilson.
Final one, Caitlin Clark over under 22.5 points. Chris said under, I said over. Should have followed Chris because she had 16 points.
All right, we're doing well this week. Scraby's 9-6, but I'm 11-4. So we go into today's action.
The betting man.
Yeah,
11
right.
and
Well,
4.
that's last week. I was like 2-11, so it always evens out. Believe me. Tonight we'll start with Dolphins Bills over under 48 points for these guys.
I keep forgetting. Where is this game?
It's in Miami tonight.
Oh, Tyreek Hill better watch out.
48 point. Yeah, hopefully Tyreek has made it to the game safely.
I mean, at this point, the way guys is playing after being arrested, we just might have to change the flu game to the arrest game. Scheffler went out and shot like a 66, and then Tyreek had 7 for 130.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just joking. We don't want to do that.
Let's not do that. Last 2 times these teams have played in Miami, it's actually been a lower scoring game. if that matters to you. Scraby, what'd you go on
What
here?
was the
48 points.
So like 27, 24.
So you need 7 touchdowns to beat that.
You know what? The Bills' defense is not as good as people think. So I'm going to say over.
Over. I'm going to go over, too. I just kind of have a feeling. I agree with you. The Bills is not the same defensively.
No.
And I know Josh Allen's going to score points. Tony, what do you want to do here?
Over.
Over. Josh Allen, passing yardage plus running yardage. 283.5. It's a lot.
283 and a
That's a lot. But it is Josh Allen, and as I said earlier, he's been player of the week 5 times following games against the Dolphins.
That's
a great stat.
That's annoying.
That
That's
tells
an
you
annoying
everything.
stat is
It
what
tells
it
you
is.
everything about it.
Yeah,
What you
283.
need to
You
know.
might get that rushing today. I'll go over. Tony?
Yeah, 5 straight. That's the thing that tipped it over. Yeah, I'm going over too.
Scrape?
I'm going to go under.
All right, take a shot.
Yeah.
Why not?
Loser.
Who's going to complete more passes tonight, Tony? Josh Allen or Tua? Completions only, not yardage.
I'm going Tua.
Tua there. Scrape?
Yeah, I got to go Tua because he only throws it like 3 yards down the field.
You know,
so.
I'm not taking that personally. I'm taking that as, yes, no kidding. Stop calling that play.
the drag route?
The one, it's not a drag route. It's one step and throw it to the sideline.
You're talking about the screen, the right
They
receiver
do
screen.
it all the time. It is so annoying.
It's their version of a running play.
No,
They just
you're
get,
right.
Like,
No,
they just want
that's-
3 yards out of it.
And that's all they
3-4
get
yards.
out of it. So stop doing it. Hate that play.
Which do you hate more, that play or the fade to the back of the end zone?
The fade.
Okay.
Yeah, the fade's the worst play in football.
From the 1 yard line, a little fade.
It's the worst play in football.
You just have to have a Randy Moss. This is or
right,
a Calvin
it worked
Johnson.
with Randy Moss, but nobody has those guys anymore.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill's not
No,
6'5".
Tyreek's not your guy for this play. He is your guy for this particular pick, though. 95.5 yards over under receiving. That's a high
For who?
number for
Tyreek.
Tyreek. 95.5.
He's going
Scraping.
over that.
Yeah, he's over.
Over?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going over.
All right, I'm going to be the
You
contrary.
just said the Buffalo Bills defense ain't as good anymore.
All right, but 90. I'm just going
And the
with
secondary is very young.
Wait, 95. Make sure I understand. It's 95.5
Receiving
yards.
yards.
Receiving yards.
Yeah. Receiving yards.
You think that's high?
I do for any wide receiver. Guys don't average 100 yards a game.
But he averages about 120 yards a game.
Well, last week he got that. I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go under anyway. Tony's going over. No
going
problem. All right, this is one of our for Scraby. There is a college football game
you're
tonight. South Alabama against Division II Northwestern State. Scraby likes these because the
Northwestern State or North Dakota State?
Northwestern State.
Oh wow.
The
Directionals.
directionals. The spread is 37.5.
For Northwestern State?
No, South Alabama. They're the Division I team. Northwestern State's the Division II team.
It's crazy.
I've never heard of Northwestern State in football.
That's why I was very confused.
But
So I was
don't know
talking about the South Alabama part. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, South Alabama. For totally remember.
You know
now.
what? I'm scratching this out. Who cares about that?
Wait, what?
Oh, you want to bet on it?
No, go ahead.
It's kind of silly. WNBA. This is a better one. My favorite player, Arike Ogunbowale of Dallas, taking on Breanna Stewart of New York. Which player scores more points tonight? I'm up first. I'm always going to go with my pal, Ogunbowale, the All-Star Game MVP. But Breanna Stewart's awfully good. Tony.
Give me Ogunbowale as well.
Another one for Ogunbowale. Scraby, make it a sweep?
I'm not making fun of the name. I think I've spelled it 3 different ways.
Yeah, I don't know how to spell it. But
Breanna Stewart.
I'm going to go with Breanna there.
He just didn't want to say her name.
Right.
Oh, I can say Ogunbowale. I just can't spell it.
Say it 3 times fast.
Ogunbowale.
It was
getting a little
it was
weird
getting a
in the
little
middle.
sketchy at the end there. One more for baseball tonight because the baseball world always has to stop and turn in the direction when the Yankees play the Red Sox.
Oh, yes.
They're playing tonight in New York.
No, they don't, Tony says.
Seems like they do.
No, I don't even. Does anybody check it for the Yankees and Red Sox anymore? Like,
no.
I can't even tell you. I could barely tell you who's on the Red Sox at this point.
I know Jarren Duran.
That's it. That's the only one I can tell you for sure.
Gail
is on
Devers.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Chris
It's not
said
Gail Devers,
I know.
by the
Chris said Gail Devers yesterday. trying to say Rafael Devers.
Made me think of Gail Devers, the old sprinter from San Diego.
All right, we got to go to break. Are you done?
Yankees or Red Sox? Who do you like? Scraby. 1.5 runs, Yankees favored.
Ooh, 1.5 runs changes.
Give me the Bronx Bombers.
Yeah, I'm going to go Yankees, too.
Yanks, I'll take the Sox. And we'll take a break. We got a interview coming up. Sean Cole, who is the baseball coach at San Diego State, on the big move to the Pac-12. Find out what coaches around the Mesa are thinking when we get back after some traffic.
From the night.
322 on the dial. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. Talking move from the Mountain West to the Pac-2 plus 4. So, yeah, I'm going to try to come up with a different way to call it every single time I say it for the rest of the show. We also have Thursday Night Football following. Chris's Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills. Should be a fun one. This is actually a good Thursday night matchup. Now, this is how they trick you, though. They give you the good ones first, maybe the second week. Then they typically start to kind of head downhill, and then towards the back end of the season, they kind of pick up again. You get lucky.
I think it's Jets, Patriots next week. Al Michaels will start complaining next week. Remember, he's the Thursday night guy in Prime Video, and he doesn't like the schedule every year. These games are terrible, says Al.
He's not a fan of the games. Specifically, last year he had to call. Was it 2 years ago?
He was
I can't remember
pretty big.
We are trying to get baseball head coach Sean Cole on the phone. Talk to him a little bit about what he thinks this means for his baseball program up on the Mesa.
I'd imagine if I'm a coach, I'm much happier to go in and say I'm in the Pac-12 than in the Mountain West. And, it's going to matter who they are able to attract. But I think they think they're going to be able to attract some teams, some schools. And I don't see why they shouldn't. Like I said, if you're in the Big 12, I don't know what your necessary connection is when you don't feel like flying to West Virginia and Central Florida every year. And being out on the West Coast. It's going to get it's going to get older for Arizona State when they start making these East Coast trips. I think they're going to realize, especially in the minor sports, Tony. We're just thinking about it. We think about it on football and men's basketball terms, but you're going to fly your rowing team to Central Florida? What are you going to do? So I could see them being able to interest some of these schools and coming back out. I hope so anyway. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. We do have head coach for the San Diego State Aztecs baseball team, Sean Cole, on the line. Sean, how are you? How's your day going?
It's been great. I got up at 5:45, really excited for this announcement, and been on the phone and text messages ever since.
Sean's in his second year, will be in his second year at the helm for the baseball team. And, Sean, I know you've been on the phone a lot this morning. My first question is, did you have any clue that this was coming prior to yesterday? And if so, how did you begin to prepare? Obviously, you couldn't make any moves until yesterday, but you talked about being on the phone. How has things kind of changed already, if they have?
Well, from a recruiting standpoint, it's definitely going to change the landscape. It's going to allow us to have a further reach nationally, and also hopefully be able to entice some Southern California players to stay close to home and play in the Pac-12 instead of going to the other side of the country. So the other side of just the conversations alone is just sheer excitement for San Diego State and the athletic program. And this is just, it's going to catapult the athletic department into a whole nother level of competing consistently for national championships. San Diego State's already been doing that, but this is just going to make the future even brighter for us.
Sean, was there a lot of discussion inside the athletic department? Are coaches let in on this kind of stuff? I'm talking months ago, a couple of months ago that, this is something J.D. Wicker, maybe even when he brought you on as head coach, was he already, dreaming about this day?
JD's been working diligently on this for a long time. Same with the president. There's always been conversation, but there was a lot of unknown just what direction Washington State and Oregon State was going to decide to go with this, and what schools they were going to reach out to or universities to invite into the conference, and if it was even going to happen. I think everybody knew that a decision had to be made somewhere within the time frame of this upcoming year, but just nobody knew really what was going to happen.
Sean Cole joins us here, San Diego State head baseball coach on the Mesa. And so, Sean, let's talk. Let's play this out. You are making phone calls to recruits, and the news is out there. You're telling them, all right, we're moving out of the Mountain West to the Pac-6, 2, however you want to frame it. And I would imagine the next question is, well, Coach, this conference isn't what it was when it was the Pac-12. How do I know that this is on the up and up? What is your response to that for a student athlete?
I think one advantage I have is I was in the Pac-12. I started in the Pac-10 as a coach at the University of Arizona, and I can speak on the tradition of the conference. I know there's going to be different names in there, but it's still going to be tied to the West Coast. We're going to be able to talk to them about travel, because there's some teams on the West Coast that now have to travel across the country, different time zones. It's going to impact their ability to be in class. They're going to miss a lot more class. We can touch on that. We can touch on the fact of mom and dad being able to come pretty much to all your games. And then also just the tradition of West Coast cities, West Coast competition. That's something that I think that in the last couple of years, people had in question. What's the West Coast going to look like? What's a Power 5 conference going to look like? Is there even going to be one? And now that that's established, and there's the potential that it's going to be 8 teams, 10 teams, 12 teams. Those are things I'm not sure of, but there's potential for growth to add more teams. I just think it's a big win for San Diego State, the city of San Diego, our student athletes, and the entire West Coast.
Sean Cole is with us from the San Diego State baseball team. We're excited. He's excited. The Aztecs are into the Pac-12, and I do agree. And Tony and I both saying this opens up a lot of doors, a lot of avenues. Heading into your second year at San Diego State, Sean, what did you take from year one, and what are you most looking forward to doing here and accomplishing in year two and moving forward? Sure,
good question. Last year. And a lot of the interviews that I had, I talked about it being a foundational year for us. And, 17 wins was definitely not what we were looking for or anticipating, but I still believe there were a lot of positives. We finished strong. We played a lot of young guys. They're now going to be sophomores, and to see them grow and take a step forward this year. And then the young group that we just brought in, some freshmen and some key transfers, I think are really going to push us forward. So this year is the foundational year is set, and this year is a year to take a step forward and get this program back to where it was and where it has been in the history of the program and what the previous coaches have done here. It's our job to continue to build on that and grow it.
There's so many kind of moving pieces as it pertains to college sports in general. Now, we've learned a little bit about the lawsuit, and, I'm not sure how that came into play in terms of this program or the programs being in the Mountain West. Does it change now that you're moving into the Pac-12? I mean, at least from what I've read, in certain situations, rosters are expanded because scholarship is more available. Does the moving conference change that dynamic for San Diego State, and particularly the baseball side?
I think it does. I think it just elevates the brand. I think it elevates opportunities to recruit players that maybe we could get in the room and have conversations with them, but they were going to pick a Power 5 conference to go play in. And now having that in our back pocket, we should be able to entice more talented players to come here, or at least a larger number of them. And then on the other side of it, and Tony, you and I have had some of these conversations already, I would hope that donor excitement and alumni excitement increases, and we start getting a few more checks coming in.
Did you hear that, Tony?
Alumni guy. I certainly did. That is one of the bonuses that you move into a conference like that. People feel a little bit differently about here in Pac-12 versus Mountain West. We certainly hope that translates. Sean, as always, man, appreciate you coming on. We got to get off to get to commercial, but you and I will chat a little bit later on this evening. But thanks for your time again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Sean.
Sean Cole, San Diego State's baseball head coach, on the line there, kind of, sharing his excitement for the Pac-12 move from the Mountain West.
The more I'm talking about it out loud, the more I'm liking this.
Yeah.
When I first read it, I was a little bit laissez-faire about it. I was like, okay, but it's still only 6 teams. But the more we've talked about it, now having a coach on and, Kirk detailing some of the things, to me, it's a nice open avenue right now, and I'm kind of excited to see where it's going to go. Whereas with the Mountain West, I knew that wasn't going anywhere.
I mean, we had pretty much stopped talking about conference moving because we knew that the Mountain West wasn't. Seems like the Mountain West was making it difficult at times for the Aztecs to move up out of there, and so it was interesting. I did find it interesting that Kirk said, having talked to both parties, recently, none of this was mentioned. So it did seem like it kind of came on pretty quickly here in the last, as he said, 72 hours.
It's all good.
It's a little awkward having the Mountain West president at your game on Saturday and then saying 3 days later, "Hey, peace out."
Yeah, it's probably not that awkward. I mean, they had to know that this was a possibility. The Mountain West is just stuck where they are stuck.
Or maybe these were like last-ditch effort talks in the form of a Mountain West president visit.
Certainly could have been. All right, let's get to break. Where are we going next, Grape?
Oh, we got the Big 5. I have a question about the Padres catching situation in 2025 that you both are going to have to answer.
Here we go. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Where would you see a guy? At Costco? And you'd be like...
That's a gamer?
And you'd be
continues on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. If you love Mediterranean food, I do. Try Spiro's, authentic Mediterranean cuisine, Coronado, La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, spiroscuisine.com. We have an hour to go on the show today. Then it's Thursday Night Football. But before that hour is up, we will have our weekly NFL Pick'em segment. Week 2 coming up, Tony Gwynn Jr. versus Chris Ello. We'll have the results of Week 1, and we'll let you know what we got for Week 2 on our picks. We'll also give you our Survivor Pool picks, although Scraby won't have to because he's been eliminated. Reaction to that, Scrape?
Tony's waving bye to me in the camera.
The Bengals did it to a lot of people last week. That is for sure.
I cannot believe that the Bungles took me out.
They didn't. The Patriots did.
The Patriots might not win another game this year, and it doesn't matter.
Tony, am I reading a correct story here before we get to the Big Five that Dave McMenamin, who covers the Lakers for ESPN, saying that there's rumblings about LeBron James coming back with the Lakers in the wake of the hiring of J.J. Redick and some of the other things that happened?
Like he wants out?
It doesn't say he wants out. It just says that he signed his contract in July, 2 years, $104 million extension, but now it says more questions have surfaced after this summer. I don't know. You follow way close. Are there any questions, Tony, or no? I mean, training camp is 3 weeks away for the NBA. Yeah. Are you hearing any of this?
Oh my gosh,
no.
This whole time, I'm sorry.
Oh, he's been talking and we can't hear him.
Sorry,
Thanks,
sorry.
That's excellent, Greg.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Excellent. I thought that you had heard me and just kind of
weren't paying attention. Yeah,
just poo-pooed me.
But no, not at all.
Clearly, Scrape had me plotted down.
It's the first time today.
No, I don't think there's any question. I think this is one of those. There's nothing else to write, and ESPN needs me to write something. I just got off my honeymoon. Let me go ahead and
I'm gonna go
get this.
Raise some eyebrows.
Raise some eyebrows, because he really. I mean, the title of it is LeBron AD's Quest and Trades.
Yeah.
What lies ahead. Yeah. I don't know that that's still an issue. He already signed the deal. He ain't going nowhere. So, we'll see.
And they just drafted his son.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think the quest, for AD, as he mentions in this, is he wants to win Defensive Player of the Year. J.J. Redick taking over at the helm is going to ask LeBron to shoot more threes.
Boo, J.J. Redick. Boo, J.J. Redick. And if he doesn't like it, he can swear at me. It's all right.
He will.
Then I think that's really what the story's about. It's more about there were some questions going into the offseason. Those have been answered in terms of will he stay, will he go, but how will they look as players under J.J. Redick? So I'm not gonna lie. After having a lot of reservation about J.J. Redick, I have now turned the corner, and I'm pulling for J.J.
You're on the
Redick.
train.
Let's go. Let's go, J.J.
According to
need you, buddy.
Off-season picks, Oklahoma City Thunder are kind of the favorite in the West, followed by the T-Wolves, Mavericks, Nuggets, Suns, Lakers in the 6th spot. But this is before they ever start.
Was this a Big Five question? Oh, I can't remember.
Let's get to it after traffic. Sorry, pal.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by MTS, reminding you that trolleys run every 15 minutes or better. Got a few things going on here, guys. Collision on northbound 125 near the King Freeway. Looks like a car and Big Rig involved in this one. It's over to the right shoulder. Anybody need a mattress? Yeah, don't even. Northbound side of the 805 just past the 8. It's in the slow lane. Take it extra carefully there. And Cordell traffic cam shows a stalled car in middle lanes. Southbound 805 just past Murray Ridge. Don't let traffic drag your day down, whether headed to the office or game day. Go the easy way with MTS. Trolleys run every 15 minutes or better throughout the day. Learn more and plan your trolley trip at sdmts.com. That's sdmts.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, if you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Yes, sir?
There's an echo in here, Tony.
Did you say that?
About 3 minutes ago.
Ooh, well, I love Spiro's.
This is when did you have him plot it down too so you didn't hear that? Because he definitely said it.
Oh, shots fired there.
No, I did not have him potted down. Potted down.
Oh, potted, sorry.
I know, it's a radio term.
My promise was to get names of people right, not actual radio
terminologies,
radio lingo.
It's okay. It's okay. Here we go, guys. Are you ready for the first question?
Number 5.
The first question is going to be about the catcher position. What?
I'm laughing at myself.
Oh, okay. I know we're in 2024 mode, so don't say that when I ask the question, but I have to talk about the 2025 Padres right now because it's looking more... But I have to talk about the 2025 Padres right now. It's looking more and more like the Padres are going to look in another direction for the catcher position. With
does it?
With Campusano being sent down to AAA. Tony, is next year's starting catcher currently in the Padres organization?
Yes.
And who?
It could be Kyle. It could be Luis Campusano.
Okay, well, Okay, so let me explore this a little bit. Luis Campusano sent to AAA in September. That seems like a bad sign for me, if I'm Luis.
I mean, listen, the objective in 2024 right now is to win a World Series. That's it. This isn't, at this point, it's not, develop. It's not any of those other things other than best 26 to 28 right now because of the expanded rosters. We're trying to win a championship. And if a player is deemed not able to help with that as much as another player, then that means for 2024, they got to go in a different direction. That doesn't mean for 2025 that they won't shift their focus back. You see that all the time. Campy had a better year this year than he did last year. He got hurt. And he got more experience. Does it mean he's completely ready? Not necessarily. Does this mean his career is over as a Padre? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means right now on, what's today? The 12th? Is it the 12th today?
Yes, the 12th.
Yes, on September 12th, or whenever the day he went down, the Padres felt that in order for them to put their best foot forward in winning a title this year, he wasn't going to help. But it does not mean for 2025 that he or Kyle can't be the starting catcher.
Chris, is next year's starting catcher currently in the Padres organization?
Ditto, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Okay.
Move on. I'm more worried about this year.
Oh, my goodness.
And I really haven't thought a lot about next year yet.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, I'm not.
He's such a baseball guy.
Well, so many people are like, what's going to happen with Hassan Kim? What's going to happen with Campusano? Who's going to be re-signed? Who's going to go leave in free agency? Who are they going to go get? There's like way more pressing matters right at this moment.
Right. And there's a lot of time to actually worry about that piece.
Sorry, I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming all the people who, keep tweeting this stuff out. I'm not interested right now. I'm interested in winning the game tomorrow night.
Patriots owner Robert Kraft has been wondering for a while now why he hasn't been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, despite the 6 Super Bowl wins, which is the most ever for any owner, 10 Super Bowl appearances, which is also the most ever for an owner, in addition to some other things like contract negotiations with TV and all that. But we may know why now. A small group of anti-Kraft voters apparently cannot look past one facet of Kraft's ownership tenure. Can you guys guess?
I can't wait to hear which facet.
Chris, can you
Deflate
guess?
Gate, maybe.
Okay, Tony, can you guess?
I hope it's not Deflategate, but I'm interested to hear what the real reason.
I thought we were going to get some sort of massage parlor reference, but we did not. And it's not that. It's actually a scandal, but it's the cheating scandal of Spygate back in 2007.
Yeah,
can I ask you guys a question? Like, shouldn't the other thing be the thing that pisses them off more than?
Yes, that's exactly what I thought, but that's not my question. We're going to move past that. Should the thing that he got caught for illegally be the problem and not the Spygate? Yes, but we're not going that direction.
Sorry, I digress.
A voter said, quote, "Some voters believe he was part of the biggest cheating scandal in NFL history. That's a very tough one to overcome," end quote. Chris, should Robert Kraft be in the Hall of Fame?
Apparently, well, they've kept him in. I was going to refer to OJ for a minute, but I digress. Here's the thing. It's not shocking to me. Gambling and cheating are the two things that worry, the integrity of these leagues more than anything else. And Robert Kraft has been caught in a couple of these because, Deflategate, he oversaw whatever was going on there in some way, shape, or form, or helped cover it up. I think eventually he will get his spot in the Hall of Fame, but I think he's going to have to fight for it a while.
All right, Tony, do you think he should be in the Hall of Fame, Robert Kraft?
Yes, I think he should. Chris is 100% right. And I was joking. I wasn't joking because it should be the other way around. But in terms of the Football Hall of Fame, that should have really nothing to do with that. And so, yes, these things would be something that I'm sure owners who feel that he was on the wrong side of that would have a hard time putting him in there. I can totally see that. But I do think he should be there. The Patriots organization, they couldn't cheat it every year. They were good for quite a long time there. So I think that and the amount of Super Bowls they won in that time frame, he's far ahead of Jerry when it comes to a lot of this stuff who he seemed to have a little bit of a problem with.
Oh, he had a problem with Jerry Jones getting in for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, his case in terms of Jerry Jones, I know Jerry Jones has the most popular team and his team is worth the most money. But in terms of what the product that has been on the field that he has overseen, Robert Kraft has a way better case to me than Jerry Jones. Way better.
Jerry Jones.
Number 3.
Talk about honesty, though. Jerry Jones, first person that comes to mind.
Yes.
He's clearly on the up and up.
You know what? I heard he grew up and they called him Honest Jerry.
Yeah, right.
Every minute of every day. Even though it's not a certainty for the A's, the future home in Sacramento. Oh, sorry. Let me start this over. Even though it's not a certainty, the A's future home in Sacramento is going to be ready by next season. Major League Baseball said in a statement, it is a certainty the A's will be playing home games in Sacramento next season. Super agent Scott Boras brought concerns about the weather, saying the heat can reach triple digits in the summer, and games on artificial turf magnify the heat, and it's not safe or sustainable for players.
They
Tony,
made that turf now?
They're going to, or talking about it, because
Lord.
there's going to be so much baseball being played on this field. They're going to need something that doesn't break down. You know how we bring up problems like, oh man, the pitch clock is going to be so annoying. We're all going to notice it. It turns out fine. Tony, are these problems going to actually be problems?
No, they're going to have they're going to have different problems. I don't think pitch clocks, any of that stuff.
No, I know, but do you think the problems that we're presenting are going to be actual problems, or is it just us with fodder?
No, there's just going to be problems. This is a AAA stadium that's going to be asked to host Major League Baseball games. I don't know if people really understand how big of a difference those two things are. Even your very, very best AAA stadium does not even begin to compete with your worst Major League stadium. You know what I'm saying? The different things that go on behind the scenes, the locker room space, the amenities in terms of tubs, and some of the recovery. There's just a lot of stuff that goes into it that I know for a fact, because I had talked to Mark Kotze when we played them earlier this year, and one of the things he was telling him was he was on the players, the player representative for their team to hey, make sure you're on the union, and the union's on Major League Baseball, that these things have to get done that they don't have right now. And so there's going to be things that they don't think of until it's probably too late, and they'll have to kind of readjust. And I'm sure they know all these things are coming, but inevitably something slides through the cracks. So I think, the Padres go there, I believe, the second series of the year. So hopefully, it won't be in the triple digits hot, so we get lucky there. But they'll probably still be working out some kinks in terms of like game day activities and how it's going to all go. So, yeah, I fully expect that this isn't going to be as smooth. Now, listen, I think over the course of the season, they'll find the right rhythm and it'll be fine. But I think initially it's going to be chaotic is my guess.
Chris, are these problems going to be actual problems?
Yes, and I'll just go with what Joe Musgrove said when this was first kind of all revealed. He said he felt sorry for the players on the A's organization.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because they're going to have to do it every day, all season long.
That's right.
And they're not going to be in a big league facility, even though they deserve to be in a big league facility. There's a difference between the majors and the minors, but not for those guys. So I feel bad for them. Tony, I'll feel bad for him for 3 days, but
right.
The A's is going to be all year long. So
all right.
Hey, this is like the real live Major League Baseball thing right here, like real live. Yeah. We're gonna have to have.
I don't know that we can because we got Chris versus the fans, and we also have your pick'em. Let's move.
Just touch on these things real quick. What are they?
Okay, number 2 is Derek Shelton is going to be brought back by the Pirates.
Number 2.
Good for him.
In 2025, he has a winning percentage in the 5 seasons, .415. He could be coming in last place for the 3rd time under his watch. Chris, should the Pirates let him go?
Let the ownership go.
Okay.
I like Shelton. I like the way he banters with these umpires that are crossing the line.
Last one is ESPN didn't release numbers for the Manning cast when they released the numbers for Monday Night Football.
Right?
It was the worst ever for the Manning cast. The 2024 season debut sank to an all-time low of 872,000 viewers, a 43% drop from week 1 in 2023. And they do say, though, that DirecTV and its audience not being able to watch might have a big deal, or it might,
I would think so.
Might have to do with this.
Yeah, that direct. We were stuck wherever we were just at. Seattle, the hotel had DirecTV, so no ESPN channels the entire weekend.
All right,
Terrible.
Tony, is the bad start the product, meaning the Manning cast, or the lack of DirecTV viewers?
I think it's probably the lack of DirecTV viewers.
Product's the same, so I'm going to say viewers. I'm not a fan of the Manning cast, but I don't think that many people dropped off of it.
No, I don't think so either.
1 year.
I do think it's DirecTV.
All right, Chris versus the fans is next. 833-9.
What?
7264.
No. Hold on.
I don't know where I am.
833-288-0973 next.
That number, yeah.
Welcome in, 4:02 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. Sorry, forgot it was my turn to bring us back. We do have a Chris versus the fans. It sounds like Chris has been roasting all the fans here as in recent days. So we'll see if the tide changes from that standpoint. Scraby, do we have any bills to pay here? Are we good? Can we just go
just need to read the prize.
Scraby has to read the prize because he boxed up the show so badly yesterday that he promised to read the prize for the rest of the week.
Did you hear, Tony? Did anybody tell you?
He played the wrong day's Big Five.
And I played something else wrong, too.
He had to stop the Big Five.
Wait, time out. Wait, you played the wrong one that we
recorded the Big Five yesterday.
So
he played one from the day. He played the one from the day before.
Because I usually transfer it into the computer and I check the date.
Nice job.
Did not check the date yesterday. Started it and was like, oh my God.
Horrified.
This is not. Oh my God, it's yesterday's.
At what point did you realize it was yesterday's?
When I started talking about something that we talked about 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh no. And so I even came on the air and I was like, I've made another mistake, everybody. Here's the real Big Five. The other one was, it was
you did
Sports Core.
Else, yeah.
I did.
We had some issues, so go ahead and read the prize.
All right, that's my
As a matter of fact,
handle that, buddy.
As a matter of fact, probably the rest of the month.
No.
Yeah.
You will be qualified for a trip to Rio, Las Vegas, including a. This is not it either.
Oh my Lord, this is not really happening, is it?
Oh yeah, you're supposed to go to the Wynn Hotel this month.
I just put this new one in this morning.
See the show Awakenings.
I just put it. Stop it, Tony.
Wow, Tony.
Nate Taylor on the chat said it was a train wreck yesterday.
Thank you, Nate.
All right,
correct.
You're qualified for a chance to win our grand prize: a 2-night stay at Wynn or Encore Las Vegas, and 2 tickets to see Awakening. Awakening, the thrilling spectacle at Wynn Las Vegas, dazzles audiences with soaring aerialists, bounding acrobats, high-energy choreography, and comedic moments. At the heart of this compelling story, a hero must confront the forces of light and darkness in a quest to save the world. A mythic adventure unfolds set amid the most technologically immersive theater ever designed. Tickets are on sale now at awakening.com. All right, it's time for the song.
Real quick before you hit that, did you guys see Logan Webb admit that he was hungover pitching in the All-Star game this year?
No,
but explains a few things.
Yes, he was the one getting lit up.
He was already lit up. Har.
Him and the national anthem singer from the Home Run Derby went out the night before together, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
Hey.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, the rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get the question wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before you get into it. You get the first question for free today. And Chris versus the Feds is presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation today.
My fault. I missed the play. It's been a while since I've been on for that, so
it's
I
okay.
wasn't ready.
It's okay. Chris joined me nicely, so we had a nice full playa this time. All right. Let's go with the person played recently. Let's go to Jared. Hello, Jared. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. You ready to play?
Let's do it.
All right. What AL West team has struck out the most in baseball so far this year?
Struck out the most.
Seattle Mariners.
Said the
is
Mariners.
correct.
Very good. Yeah, he's been paying attention.
Yes, they've struck out a lot.
Jared?
A lot.
Yeah, they have.
Here we go, Jared. Question number 2. Who was the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft last season? Not this current season. The season 2023.
Oh, man, I need to know this. I am drawing a blank.
I heard drawing a blank was a great player, but that's
incorrect. This year was Caleb Williams. Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay. Stay there. Stay there. Chris might forget.
He normally does forget, but this guy was so so bad that I couldn't forget. Bryce Young. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Jared.
Because we all said to take C.J. Stroud, and they didn't listen to us.
That's true. They're kicking themselves.
Yeah.
He's still got time to develop, Chris.
Could always change.
Just
ways off at the moment.
All right, let's go to Dale in San Diego. Hello, Dale.
Hello.
Hi, Dale.
All right, Dale, here we
How
go.
you doing?
Good. Question number 1. Who is the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons right now?
That is, oh my gosh, what's his name? From the Minnesota Vikings. I'm drawing a blank.
I'm going to give it to you. It's a question.
Whoa! What in the world?
Question number 1. He knew he was from the Vikings.
You can't give it to him. People are going to be mad. People behind him are going to be angry. Sorry,
All right, Dale.
Sorry, got to overrule Dale.
Do you have an answer, Dale?
We gave you a little extra time.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm sorry, Dale. Hold on. Chris has to get it wrong.
I could just get it wrong, and that would
save Dale.
That would also irritate the people on the line.
Everybody can send you messages then.
Kirk Cousins. I almost said it wrong. Sorry, Dale.
Sorry, Dale.
Yeah. No, you can't do it to the people behind Dale. That's all I'm thinking of here.
Listen,
Scraby's like, that's close enough.
That's close enough.
Yeah, he's just trying to move the game along.
Who's the quarterback of the Falcons? Well, he throws a football around. I've seen him before.
He said a specific team that the player played for the year before.
Sorry, it's not the game, buddy.
Move on.
I'm moving on. Let's go to Johnny.
Hello, Johnny. Let's go, Johnny.
What's up, Johnny?
Johnny?
Hello?
Johnny, no good.
I'm out.
Johnny, no
Johnny
good.
heard you give the answer and probably just hung up.
Yeah,
Pissed.
it's like,
Good.
Just giving
good. Now
prize
he's
away
made us
today.
take his ghost call on the air. All right, let's go to Tommy. We went from Johnny, now let's go to Tommy.
Hello.
Hey, Tommy.
What's up, Tommy?
Good luck, man.
I'm good.
All right, here we go. Question number 1.
Ready to play.
All right, cool. Who won NFL MVP last season?
MVP.
Lamar Jackson.
Hey,
Lamar
Tommy
Jackson is correct.
Did not escape Tommy. He was on it.
All right, question number 2. Who is the oldest player in American League and National League history with 4 or more hits in a game?
There's only a number 2? Wow, okay. Well, good luck, Tommy.
I'll explain after.
All right.
Oldest player. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Who is the oldest player in basically baseball history with 4 or more hits in a game? American League, National League history.
Let's just go with Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn. Unfortunately, incorrect. Stay there, Tommy.
I'm trying to figure out, where you're going with this. I'm trying to think of really old players who played a long time. I don't want to waste too much time on this one. Albert Pujols. I really don't know.
Okay, maybe this was a question. Maybe this was a question. Do you know Tony?
I think it's Pete Rose.
It is Pete Rose.
It is Pete.
That's why I put it at 2 because I thought.
Well, you
people
said
would say
American League, so that's why I didn't. Pete Rose.
Well, I said
never
AL
played.
and NL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move on.
5 for 5 on August 11th, 1986.
Way to go,
45
Pete.
years old.
At 45.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Here we go, Tommy. Question number 3. Between the years of 2000 and 2009, which player had the most Major League Baseball hits in that decade? Sorry,
Go with
oh, there he is.
Ichiro.
Who'd you say?
Ichiro.
Ichiro is correct. Nice job, Tommy. Stay there, Tommy.
Good job, Tommy. That's a good finish to today's game.
Yeah, that was good.
Ichiro was getting 200 hits quite a few times in that time.
Had a 250 in there one time, or set the record.
Nuts.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Recently, I had a Mariners fan tell me that you don't know pain until you win 116 games and you get eliminated in the first round.
They ran into the Yankees, unfortunately.
The Patriots won 18-0 one year and lost the Super Bowl, so they know
but at
that
least they
same
got
feeling.
to the Super Bowl.
True that. All right, we got our NFL pick segment coming up next, Tony, so should send us to that.
Should I take us on out? All right.
I always jumped in
NFL
there.
Pick'em up next. Here's some traffic.
From the
All right, headed to the finish line here today on a shorter edition of Gwynn and Chris. Tomorrow we'll have a full program for you from San Francisco. Tony will be there. We'll be here, but game isn't until 7:15 tomorrow night. So that leaves us on for 4+ hours tomorrow.
Yes, we I didn't get a chance to tell you yet, but we are staying on until 6:15 tomorrow.
Yeah, I can read the notes that Adam sends out to us.
So I'm telling you because there are times when you don't read the notes.
I missed whatever happened, but I liked where I picked up at.
Well, the game is starting at 7:15 tomorrow night, so we're going until 6:15. And Adam sent an email earlier telling us
which I read,
which he read. Okay,
Scraby doesn't think I read those, so he's.
Well, can we be honest, Chris? Come on.
With all due respect, I mean, AK does send a lot of emails, so sometimes you can
one.
You can miss a couple.
One does slip through the cracks from time to time.
I'm gonna start calling him AK.
I was like, AK. Oh, Adam Klug.
Yeah, Adam Klug.
He sends a lot of emails.
You're
he's the boss. He's supposed to send a lot of emails.
Your partner on your comedy writing team over there.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
All right, we're gonna get to our Pick'em game, NFL Pick'em. Chris Gwynn versus Chris. And before we get to that, though, everybody likes to catch up on our Survivor pool. We're only 1 week in. But because of the Bengals...
Some of us are only 1 week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the Bengals, we started with over 200 players. We're down to just over 100 after 1 week.
108 left.
Yeah, we lost almost half the entrance.
47.3.
On the Bengals. So there's 108 of us left. Tony, do you want to share who you're picking this week with the folks out there? They like to hear what we're doing.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Going
He's
Eagles.
flapping his wings
Monday night,
now.
Eagles. I'm going Cowboys over the Aints this week.
Well, that's interesting.
So, there's others. The Ravens are the most popular one again. They're the heaviest favorite of the week against the Raiders. But anyway.
We have to have Tony do it.
Yes, we do. So that's who we're going to go with in our Survivor pools. We'll all see how that turns out at the end of the weekend. And but before that, let's get to our picks.
It's time for Tony and Chris to face off. Playing for a season-long prize of pride.
I see pride. I see power.
The guys make their picks, and then they stress over their picks all weekend.
No! Please, no! No! No!
Gwynn and Chris NFL Pick'em starts now.
I'm going to say I haven't heard that open before.
It's new.
It's accurate. We do stress over these picks.
I know you guys
do. And we think them through, and we do care a lot who wins this thing. Tony's the defending champion. After 1 week, we're tied at 6. I got all 3 of my picks right last week, but I badly missed my upset pick. I went with the Panthers. That lasted for about 3 minutes. Tony got his upset pick, which was the Steelers over the Falcons, but he lost the 3-point game, which he took the Bengals, like a lot of people. So, anyway.
Stupid Bengals.
Yeah, the old Bengal thing got him, too. So, we're 6-6 going into week 2. 3-point game, 2 points, etc. 1 point, and then an upset pick. I'm first this week, and I will just take the Ravens. We just talked about it. They're the biggest favorite of the week. I'm not risking the Ravens yet in my Survivor pool, but I do think they're the best team to go for a 3-pointer. Ravens are not going to start the season 0-2, so I'll take them. Tony, your 3-point pick.
He's staring deeply into his
He
phone.
does, man. He burns a hole in the phone when he's looking for his picks here.
Dang. Give me
take your Eagles.
Give me Philly over Atlanta.
There you go.
Oh, there
Eagles.
you go.
He's putting it all on the Eagles this week. A Survivor pool and his 3-point pick are the Eagles. All right, 2-point game now. Got to win straight up. There's a couple of pretty good options here, but I just took the Cowboys in my Survivor, so I'll take them again. Cowboys for 2 over the Saints. I will say this. The Saints could just be very good, and we don't know it. You know, we're all assuming that they only won like that because the Panthers are terrible.
Yeah, I mean.
But every now and again, you know, maybe they're real good. We'll see. Dallas will test that. Tony, your 2-point pick, sir.
I'm torn right now because the one that I don't use will be my upset pick.
I see. Okay.
So
Strategy.
I'm gonna go with the Houston Texans as my one. Is it 1 point? Yeah, 1 point pick. 2 point pick. Excuse me. 2 point
over
pick.
the Bears.
Yes.
Over the Bears.
The Bears.
Okay. I'm a little surprised at that because Tony loves Caleb Williams.
He does.
He was all
Yeah, I
about
knew
the
that's
Bears
what you guys
last
were
week.
thinking, though.
Yeah.
I knew that's what you were thinking.
Okay.
You put all your eggs in Caleb Williams' basket.
Yeah.
Last week, and he got me riches. So how about
got
that?
you 93 yards. He barely got the ball over the line of scrimmage.
He also got sacked for a 30-yard
All
loss.
I know is advanced the survivor pool with my Bears pick.
You did.
So
You did.
hold
And-
that.
and
buddy.
you don't
This is
have-
just my hurt talking.
No, and he doesn't have to pick the Bears again. So that's a
Nope.
double bonus for him.
Got rid of him.
My wife asked me on her survival pick this week. She goes, I'm going to take the 49ers because, of course, they're going to win. And I said, well, that's a good, but you can't use them again. And she's like, oh, I didn't know that. She was expecting to pick the 49ers in her survival pool every week. I had explained to her that's not how it works.
That the last time the 49ers went to Minnesota last season on Monday Night Football, they lost?
Yeah, I'll take the 49ers, having heard that for 1 point. Not going there and losing again. Tony, for 1 point. Left a couple big ones there for you, if you like them.
You did indeed.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give me the Chargers. Going to Carolina
Chargers
on the road.
over
Go
there.
Chargers, go.
Thank you, Arnold. All right, so for 3, I take the Ravens. For 2, Dallas. 1, San Francisco. Time for our upset pick. If our upset pick wins straight up, we get the points that they're underdog by. I'm going to go Cleveland Browns this week for 3 points. They're playing at Jacksonville. The Browns were really bad last week. They're supposed to be a lot better.
I cannot believe you're going to use the team with the quarterback that you like the least.
Yeah, I do like him the least. You're right about that, Scraby, but I just that's the one I like this week. Tony, who do you like for your upset pick?
Give me Baker Mayfield going into Detroit.
Yeah, I thought you might be leaning
with
there.
the upset joint.
7-pointer if you get it. Lions are favored by 7.5 over the Bucks.
That seems like a big
what's
line.
funny
That's
is
a big
you guys
spread. Yeah.
You guys called me on it earlier. I wanted to take Caleb in this spot, but I had to figure who was the quarterback more likely to pull off the upset. Was it going to be Baker or was it going to be Caleb?
Mayfield.
I had to put my heart aside and go with the head on this one.
Baker Mayfield has all of a sudden become a legit quarterback in the
Yes, he
minds of
has.
most people.
Yes,
It
he
took a
has.
long time for that to actually happen.
Hey, I tell you what, Tom Brady kind of hit on this. Maybe there's something to having a guy come into the league and kind of learn. I'm just saying, he did it. Pat Mahomes did it. That might be the way to go. You don't have to throw him in there right away. Just saying.
But that's what the teams do now because they have their 5-year clock that's going to expire at some point.
Now, Baker Mayfield's legit right now. The Lions were less than stellar last week, although they pulled out that win over the Rams.
You know what we need? We need Baker Mayfield to do his commercials again because we
Just
haven't
kick
had
Chris off?
No, Chris just leaves early. It's like taking your seatbelt off before you're actually to your destination.
I just clicked off all the, my computer is off. Raring to go. I got a game to get ready for, boys.
Are you going to watch? You're not. So am I allowed to text you during the game?
Hell
okay.
no.
I'm
not
going to
watching
text.
I'm not watching on
no.
Amazon Prime. I'll be watching
I
the
forgot.
tape delay broadcast at about 9 o'clock tonight.
Don't ruin it, Scraby.
I'm going to text you and be like, "Oh my goodness,"
Yeah.
and you have no idea
I'm not
what
gonna
I
look
said.
at, I'm not going to look at my
That's funny,
phone
actually.
all night. My phone will be nowhere near me
Oh, no!
tonight.
Exclamation mark,
Yeah.
exclamation mark,
I
exclamation
hope my
mark.
wife doesn't
And
need
it's
to get a hold
nothing.
of me. All right, football's next. You know the game. We're back tomorrow to talk about it and get ready for the Padres weekend in San Francisco for Tony and for Scraby. Good night.
Matt Coker here.